some sort of facilitative avenues that can be done, but it is a challenge, especially for students. So yeah, maybe we can collectively think of a way how to address that. But for us, it's to capacitate, and once that capacity is there, we need to take it to the next level. And I think that's where development partners come in as well. So yeah.
Thank you very much. I think the lady over here in the blue. It won't get there, unfortunately. Sorry about the mic situation, everyone. We had a mic die on us just before.
Hi, my name is Vanessa, and I want to thank you for this opportunity to learn about green hydrogen. I'm not a graduate or student or in the industry. My question is about agriculture, because that's one of the industries that can benefit from green hydrogen. And if you have a small piece of land, how can you use green hydrogen there if you have your own source of water? Because for me, I mean, I hear about the big plants that's being built, but and I'm sure there's a lot of smaller owners that have small pieces of land that would like to know also how they can use green hydrogen on their particular piece of land, and how government also will become involved, meaning will they help give finance for the equipment to be set up to source your hydrogen. That's what I want to know.
Great, thank you for the question. Anybody want to take it?
So thank you so much for that question. So to give a brief answer, it's a question on a number of people's minds in terms of, can I create sort of my own small pilot project, pilot hydrogen facility on my land? So first of all, I will list like the criteria that I needed for hydrogen production, right? So first of all, you need land, which is what you mentioned. You need vast land, clear land. Second of all, you need renewable energy. So wherever your land is, it needs to be in an area that has good solar irradiation, and probably also you can mix it with wind power to have a good balance of power generation. Secondly, in terms of water is quite important, right? And depending on the scale of the hydrogen that you need, and depending also on what you want to produce it for, you will need a lot of water. So one of the things you'll have to assess is, first of all, what is your demand, or how much agriculture, how much ammonia do you want to produce? Then trace it back down to how much energy you will need for that facility, and then also trace it down to how much water you actually have on your land that can sustain this development. Because there is no point to set up a little mini hydrogen pilot plant, but then eventually your water sources are going to deplete. So that's actually one of the most important things. You need to assess how much water you have on your land. Yeah.
And if you say you need a big piece of land, how big are we talking?
I mean, it really depends on, once again, how much production you want. How much ammonia you want to produce will determine how much solar power plants or wind power plants you'll need to set up. So I really can't give you an answer, but if you have like a number in your head of, this is how much ammonia I want to produce, then we can calculate how much solar PV plants or wind power plants we need to set up. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I believe there was a lady at the back in black.
Sorry about the sound from the mic. I don't know what to do.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Chilume. I'm actually also not a graduate in the green hydrogen sector, but I'm a computer science student and I'm also in the media industry. But then I came here a little bit late. I'm not sure if this question was actually already asked, but I just want to ask regarding the HDF energy. project. Like since you say that the green hydrogen energy, it requires water, actually like a lot of water. And looking at Namibia, we also say that we have a scarcity of water like here in Namibia. So now what water sources are actually being used for the HDF energy project? And the other thing is like for how long is that water source actually it's going to sustain that green hydrogen project before we look into another type of source of energy, source of water as well? I hope it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. It's actually one we get quite a lot. When we look at the different end uses of green hydrogen, producing power from green hydrogen is actually one of the uses which requires the least amount of water. So to give you a context of the water that we will be using for that project, to provide power, about 30 megawatts of power during the day and 6 at night. Looking at that, for that power plant, in terms of land, we are going to build that power plant on 170 hectares. And the water needed for that process is 74 cubic meters of water per day. Not per second, not per hour, per day. And that is quite small when you compare it to other processes. And in terms of the sources, we have investigated several water sources, such as desalination. But looking at the minute volumes of water that we actually require, and given the fact that we are in proximity to the Orano desalination plant in the coastal area, it kind of doesn't really make sense to have such a small desalination plant, because we would be producing only about 100 cubic meters of water per day from such a it's quite a very complicated process. So we have looked at it. It's not completely off as an option, but because of the small amount of water that we need, we have permission from the local municipal grid to connect there. And yeah, that's in our particular project's case. Thank you for that. And I'm going to be a very bad guy and ask that the last person with the question come up, and I believe it was this. Sorry, I believe it was this. Okay, it seems like you must come closer to me, please. This is going to be the last question for the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, just to respect the panelists' time, because it is 8:30 and networking is meant to be from 8 to 8:30. So if they are outside, you can please, I'm sure they'll be happy to entertain some questions if they are. If not, like I said, we'll be happy to take them by email. So last question for the night.
My name is Augusta Kanjo, and I'm an agricultural student, actually doing my bachelor's of agriculture, specializing in animal science. So far, when I'm going to reach my 4th year, I have a module that requires me to do research. And so far, I've not seen any agricultural student that is doing anything or any research towards green hydrogen. So my question to you is it possible that when through this journey of green hydrogen development, when you encounter challenges and when you go through problems and whatever, is it possible to bring these challenges and problems to students or to the university and ask students to do more research? So since it's also one way to introduce green hydrogen to agricultural students, so is it possible to bring these challenges to students and do research, and then they present what they found or their answers or what they think can be done better to you guys? Yeah. And also, if now it's possible to bring these ideas to students, how will you guys bring these ideas? Will there be any special type of communication? Is it through the lecturers? Yes, please.
Thank you. Awesome question.
Yeah, so in your final year during your bachelor's degree, you are required to do a research project, which you will be guided by with your supervisor. So you as a student, that's the nice thing about being a student, is that if you are interested in a particular area, you find a supervisor in that space and you work on research in that space. So I think that's definitely possible. And I think by the time you reach your final year, which is in 2 years, I assume, yeah, there will be lots of opportunities to engage with industry, because you need to have a space where you are able to test some of the ideas and so on. So I think go for it.
Wonderful. Thank you to the audience and to our lovely panelists for bearing with us at this late hour. At this point, I'd like to close the Q&A and move on to the vote of thanks by Amma. Okay, there's a bit of switching up going on, but we're coming. So we're going to move on to the vote of thanks, but in the meantime, I do want to say actually that in the briefing, the RDJ briefing, we have been looking at hydrogen in rural areas, and in November, our November edition, which is going to be published next week, Wednesday, is actually doing a deep dive at rural development and agricultural activities. So please keep an eye out for that, because it seems like there was a lot of interest in the room when it comes to agriculture and green hydrogen, and I think that's awesome. Just a little fact. In fertilizer is actually our top 5 thing imported into Namibia as of June 2022. So you can imagine, if Namibia can produce fertilizer, the amount of money we will save and the amount of farmers who will be able to benefit from cheaper fertilizer. So just something to think about. Amma, over to you.
Thank you so much for being here today, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, can we just say thank you to Hannah, because Hannah has been doing her job very fantastic job, and I'm really proud of you from the team side, just by the way, because we know it's not easy, right? So first and foremost, we'd like to thank our special guests, the lovely ladies on the stage today, Ms. Lovisa Mshila, Ms. Chanel Fontaine-Ndlovu, Dr. Anna Matos-Koresis, and Ms. Tulikeni Ndari for gracing us with their presence and sharing their insights as industry experts. And also a special thanks to Professor Chikuvai. I don't know if he's here, but yeah, thank you for that wonderful introduction to green hydrogen. We would also like to extend our gratitude to GIZ, HDF Energy, University of Namibia, Namibia University of Science and Technology for their role in this public discussion and sharing information to participate today. A special thank you to the ladies that would have loved to join us today, such as Professor Anissa Peters from UNAM, Mr. Vina Ngai from Global Women's Network for Energy Transition, based in Austria, and Dr. Sunita Satyapo from the United States Department of Energy and the US Embassy of Windhoek for facilitating the interaction today. The shared videos provided facts and figures and helped address some of the challenges and opportunities women face in the green hydrogen industry, and some much needed motivation and inspiration. I would also like to thank the RDJ publishing team and members of the RDJ group for putting together this public discussion and opening the door for further discussions with the general public for nascent matters such as green hydrogen and the gender component within it. Lastly, thank you all for coming today and being in attendance and joining us live as well on Facebook. And please look out for more public discussions. This is the first part of a series, so next year we'll be having a lot more events, and we look forward to having you there as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Amma. Yes. Please take your seats. I feel like the panelists are there, like, you guys, you forgot about us. Sorry about that, ladies. At this point, I would love for Mr. Jarrett, the CEO of RDJ Publishing and RDJ Consulting, to please come and give us the closing remarks. Yes, and round of applause.
Thanks, Hannah. Sometimes I say Hannah, Amma, I get confused because they're both lovely ladies, so give them both a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, for us at RDJ Group, and I say the RDJ Group, the issue of gender balance is not one that we worry about because I'm just one of only 2 males in the entire institution and between the 2 companies. And we do have, if we look at our management, I'm only 33.3% of that management team. And so this was something that was well in the making, well understood, that had to come forward. And I deliberately took a back seat because I am one of the technical advisors or primary technical advisors of the RDJ Group. But today we wanted it to be the team and it to be the female-driven issue, and I'm extremely proud of what I've seen today. So ladies and gentlemen, again, for the female team that we have at RDJ, please give them a round of applause. What I'd like to emphasize, because I'm hoping we're probably still live, so this is me trying to do a marketing pitch, but what I'd really like to emphasize to those of you in the room, and if you could spread the word, is that we are a 100% Namibian entity, and it is comprised of generally young people. And what I would like to emphasize even more is that the youngsters you see, and I'm near retirement, so for me it's youngsters. And the youngsters you see before you, the majority of them have been interns because that's how we started out. We decided that as a consulting firm, we started as a consulting firm, we would have youngsters and we would empower them. And you can see tonight again, I emphasize it again, that they are empowered, they're knowledgeable, and they have started to take shape. And for that, I'm also going to ask the other 50% owner to come forward, and you will realize that I don't have a doghouse, so I try to behave nicely. The other 50% who has allowed me to drive that vision, I must say, in terms of that. So I think a round of applause for the better half of our DJ. Please stay. Please don't go. Because I know she'll disappear on me. But what I really want to say, ladies and gentlemen, is that we have come out of a pandemic. We have all come out of a pandemic, and the future is the sky's the limit. And 2023, look forward to a lot more thought-provoking events. There won't be replications. There won't be dealing with issues as if they have an agenda. They will be open and ready to deal with. Last and foremost, I'd like to thank the variety of ladies that came forward tonight, some of them have known for years, but they have done an impressive job. And so once more, I'd like to give a round of applause for the ladies, all the technical ladies, including those here and abroad. Thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I would just like to close by saying, if you need to be aware any further of what RDJ does, I think you weren't here. Yeah, so if you were here, you now know what we do and how we approach it and what that is. And we hope that we are friends as of tonight, going forward, those of you that we did not know before, that we're meeting for the first time, and that you do scan the QR code, because that will give you the direct link into all of our publications, all of what we're doing. And last but not least, I'd like to let you know, and I know my team is going to crucify me in the morning, but at least I'll sleep tonight knowing that I've done it, is that we will be pushing further into a lot of female issues. We're coming out in April, I think it is next year. I should say like, you're right, you wish, it's probably August. But we are pushing to start to look at a number of female-driven issues that need to come to the fore, need to come and have open discussions on. And so we will be coming with a women's magazine for Namibia, produced in Namibia, looking at Namibian issues and also looking at African issues, not published in London, and I know everybody thinks I have that voice, But as a genuine Namibian, and I promise you I am, as a genuine Namibian, I feel that the female voice needs to be heard and that there is enough talent. And I'm literally throwing stones at the international bodies now. There is enough knowledge within Namibia and it needs to be capitalized. And first and foremost, we want to free our women. Ladies and gentlemen, have a good night, and I'd like to thank you all for being here.
Thank you.